Hello, this is Charlie Berger. I'm the Senior Director of Product Management for Oracle Data Mining and Advanced Analytics. And in this brief YouTube video, I'm going to show the new features of Oracle Data Miner, which is an extension to SQL Developer 4.0. I'm going to cover the highlights here very quickly, and then I'm going to go dive into a demonstration to see this live, and then I'm going to come back and summarize. So Oracle Data Miner is an extension to SQL Developer. If you download and install SQL Developer, Oracle Data Miner comes installed as an extension to that, so it's already there. There are a couple of post-processing configuration steps you need to go through to expose it and set it up, and those are well documented on Oracle Technology Network. The main features for SQL Developer 4.0, if you're hooking up to an 11G R2 database, are the new graph node, the new SQL query node, and the ability to automatically generate SQL scripts at the end of your data mining process. And again, I'll show those live in some brief demos. If you happen to have the Oracle Database 12c, then there's a number of new algorithms and features and functions, including expectation maximization clustering algorithm, principal components analysis, improved text mining and prediction details, and some other features, as well as the predictive SQL queries, and those are also exposed through SQL Developer 4.0's Oracle Data Miner 4.0 extension. So at this point, I'm going to jump over to the live product and try and show a few of these features. So here is a data set. It's about car data, and I've got a graph node here, but I want to show you how simple and easy this is to set up. So I simply drop down the new graph node, I connect that data to the graph node, and then I double click on this, and it provides me the option of doing line plots, scatter plots, bar, histogram, and box plots. I'm going to choose my favorite, the box plot, and I'm going to choose miles per gallon grouped by, let's say, the number of cylinders for the car, and I'll say OK, and it gives me a scatter plot. So I can add additional graphs and keep going. I've already done that, so I'm just going to jump out of this and show you one where I've already created a few of those. So if I just show the graph here, I've got scatter plots, histograms, line charts, and so on, a number of different graphs. And these are all now easily generated using the graph node. Now the next node we're going to show is the SQL query node. Now the SQL query node is very powerful. What's nice about the SQL query node is I can take and drag and drop a SQL query node, and what it's going to do is allow me to set up any kind of arbitrary SQL code or SQL query here, and I can have little snippets of SQL or PL SQL and so on. And if I just run this, as I've just done, what this particular one did was it used a frequency monetary sort of calculation here, and it set up a new derived variable that I'm going to use, this RFM combined, to take the last purchase date, the number of purchases, and the amounts of those purchases as another derived variable, as a predictor variable for my predictive models. So it's very nice to put in some sort of custom analytics along the way. Now we also, through Oracle Advanced Analytics integration with R, through the Oracle R Enterprise component, we also allow you to add in R packages, register them, and then you also have access to any of these R snippets or R scripts that you've run, and you can run those similarly. So if you want to extend your Oracle Data Miner workflow with random forest or time series or other R packages that you've registered, you can extend Oracle Data Miner in that way using the SQL query node. Now another feature that we've done in the new release is the ability to deploy SQL code at the end of the whole script. So here I've got a little bit more complicated workflow that I've created, and at the end maybe I say I really like this workflow, I'd like to go to production with this. Well, now I can just simply say deploy, and I can generate the node and all of its parents or children. So I can say go, and if I just finish this, it'll go off and generate all the SQL code associated with that. I've already done that. I've got one over here, and this is just an example of the SQL query, automatic SQL script generation that's now part of the new SQL Developer 4.0 release. So it's a very, very powerful feature right there. Another feature that we have is something called these predictive queries. So if you come down here on the right-hand side, we have anomaly detection query, a clustering query. What these do is they don't ask you to go through the manual steps of building a model, training and testing a model as we do traditionally. Notice this is just one node, and what we do in the SQL in the predictive query nodes is when we run this node, we just build a model, we apply the model, and we return the results. So here are the clusters that we've assigned each record to, and if I want to know the reasons why, well, we also provide another new feature, the prediction details. So for each record here, I'm now showing the prediction details for that particular cluster assignment. But notice that all I had to do back in my workflow was connect a node, like say an anomaly detection node, connect a data set to that node, and then I can also do partition by, so I could even in fact add a partition where I want to do different models based on something like lifetime marital status, let's say. And now when I run this, it's going to actually build separate models for each of the different values of marital status: single, married, divorced, widowed, and whatever other categories we have. I've just done that, and if I want to view my results, I get my predictions for whether it's anomalous or normal, and I've got my reasons why, and I've done separate models for each of those different values of marital status. So going down a little bit further, we've added some other new features. Again, I'll summarize this in a set of slides which are also posted on the Oracle Technology Network. Here, we've enhanced some of what we do in our text mining capabilities. We've done some automation and some simplification here. So now, where I have data that includes customer comments, let me just show that. I have customer comments like, I shop at your store all the time, but I forget to bring my loyalty card. So all of this text here is available for me to mine. And so now, rather than having a separate text build node that I would have to separately discretize and create indexes for this text, now all I do is I come down here and I say my customer comments, that is in fact text. And then when I do that, it wakes up Oracle text under the hood, and I have my stop words, I have my thesaurus, I have my different languages, and all of the tokenization of that unstructured data or theme extraction is going to all happen all automatically as part of my simply saying this is text. So if I had, say, marital status was not single, married, divorced, but it was in fact text, I could also add that and keep right on going. And so now when I look at the models that I've created at the end, if I view the models here, excuse me, that was the wrong one. If I go back and look at the models that I've created, then I can also see that I've included those text. It's back over here. So if I look at the models for, say, a generalized linear model, then I have the field of comments, and I have the positively or negatively impacting effect of each of those different presence or absence of those words. So I've included the text mining in a much more automated, simplified kind of fashion in the new release as well. So that's a quick highlights film of most of the new features. I want to go back and summarize some of this in just a few slides, just to sort of reinforce this and explain it one more time. So the new graph node adds scatter, line, box, and bar charts. It supports a group by. The new SQL query nodes allows me to add in any kind of form of arbitrary SQL scripts. I can also integrate with R scripts. Here's an example of this is the SQL script generation, where now at the end of running my model, I've generated these different SQL scripts for going immediately to deployment. The SQL query node here is showing the integration with some R packages that I've done. So I've done some random forest, I've done some linear regression using an R package, I've done various different, I've extended what I've done in Oracle Data Miner using some R packages, and I integrate that via the SQL query node. I can also launch various different graphic types that are supported by R in a similar fashion. Also in the SQL Developer 4.0 release, we've added this ability to manually or explicitly turn on or turn off parallelism. Because you're mining your data inside the Oracle database, you have access to all of this power. Sometimes you want to turn on all the cylinders all at the same time and have full parallelization, and sometimes you do not. So we expose that more explicitly for the users, and so you can work in concert with your DBA and take advantage of all the power of the database. Again, if you have 12C, the new algorithms that we have added are now exposed to the SQL Developer 4.0 release. So the expectation maximization algorithm just appears as yet another algorithm in the clustering node. We've added the principal components analysis and the SVD, which also appear in the feature selection node. And we've also added some enhancements in our generalized linear model. We have added automatic feature selection and creation. So if you wanted squared or cubic or cross terms, that will happen automatically. We have ridge regression support also in there. The decision tree algorithm also supports nested data, which means it's also supporting text mining, which it did not do previously. We have the prediction details now, so that regardless of which algorithm you choose, we will do our best to give you an explanation of why we've made that prediction. So you have the prediction details for each algorithm. The text mining enhancements, I've shown how we've simplified and automated that quite a bit, so it gets very, very easy just to sort of mine your structured data and perhaps add in some unstructured data to get generally better results oftentimes when you do that. And then the last main new feature were the predictive queries. And the predictive queries, like all the features, are accessible via the SQL API, but you can also drive them via the GUI in SQL Developer 4.0 or Oracle Data Miner 4.0. And here we just simply have a data set, we run a predictive query, we get our predictions. It's what could be easier. So those are the new features for SQL Developer 4.0, also tied to the 12C features if you have both of those in play. And if you have any questions, please look at Oracle, look at the Oracle Technology Network, search for Oracle Data Miner, Oracle Advanced Analytics, or SQL Developer. And if you send me an email, I can send you my favorite links. I hope this was helpful for you. Good luck, and thank you.